Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is CMG TALK. This is Catherine Gallagher. Welcome, and thanks for joining me today. I missed you on Sunday. I had a family celebration and I was giving time to a family member who it was their birthday, and we went out for family time. And I have to say to you, it ended up being quite a unique experience, right, in many different ways, because we were all there, which was great, right, because often that doesn't happen, doesn't it? Not for some reason. Sometimes people can't make it, but also it was an experience where it was quite fairly relaxed, which was great, and the chef took the time to come round. He's quite a well-known chef in our area, and because for him the restaurant was fairly quiet, and he decided to come over and talk to us, which was great. It was lovely. When people make time for you, it really makes a difference, doesn't it? So he came and decided to come and speak to us. And he was talking about his experiences. He was talking about, his trips to various places because he was meeting up with his family. He was talking about his aspirations coming up to his retirement. And he was talking about lots of other things. I don't want to go into too much detail because it was kind of his story to tell, if you like. When we talk about what we manifest and what our dreams are and our aspirations, and listening to someone talking about theirs and seeing that excitement and the amount of days, weeks, hours, years that he's given to what is his passion, and seeing him coming to a point where he's realising that for now and moving forward, it's him enjoying the fruits of his labour, for want of a better expression, right? He was talking about times, things that he wanted to do, with his lovely wife and his family, and he was so excited. You could see that there were certain things that he was waiting to fall into place, and they hadn't quite happened just yet. And I was saying to him, sometimes just be patient. These things come about, and it'll happen. It'll happen in good time. Hang on in there. And he was having quite fairly extended conversation with us, and it was lovely. It was really nice. And when we talk about our next steps and our goals and what we're looking for, it's really important to manifest it as if we're living it and making it real, as if we have to create it right now. We have to see it, to believe it, to feel it, to achieve it. I say this all the time to my clients, see it, believe it, realise it, achieve it. We need to be able to understand our journey and how we're going to get there. And when we talk to someone who's really thought it through, who's got a real understanding of what they're doing, why they're doing it, their purpose, and you can see that, okay, some of the steps might not be that clear, but they have a real vision of what they're doing and why they're doing it. They've bought into it. They're all in. We're on that journey with them. Okay, we might not be going on the journey with them, but we're listening to them. We're all in there with them and going, yeah, I can see that. That's amazing. I'm so rooting for you. As I'm talking, I wonder what you're all in for in your life, in your journey. What do you manifest in your life? What do you truly sit down? And how do you create that manifestation in a positive, healthy way? Do you check those negative internal talks, those negative self-beliefs? Are you sitting, creating? It's not about, and I will say this all the time, it's not about positive thinking. It's much more than that. If we are seeing us living, believing, breathing, experiencing, being in that moment, we are there already. We tend to find that it comes to us so much quicker. I was talking recently to a client. I can say this because I'm not going to tell you who they are. And I was talking about different tools and techniques we can use. We're talking about mindfulness. We're talking about an overview of what mindfulness was and the experiences of mindfulness, being present in the moment, managing that negative self-worry talk. If you've listened to my previous episodes, you'll have heard me talk about this, about managing and catching those negative internal self-talk. It is human to think about what ifs. But it's unhealthy to focus and dwell on them. That's all we get stuck on. That's all we see. We live with the worst case scenarios as if they are actually happening. How helpful is that? I was at, I go to, a regular church, service. And I was there and there was a woman who's written a book. And she was sitting at the back of the church, and she was selling her book, right? And obviously, this was a book that the priest had read it and had said yes, of course you can sell this book if you like. And she was talking about her experiences in life, and she's lived life, right? Really lived life, okay? And as I was listening to what she was saying, somebody had actually said, okay, this is exciting. You've really experienced a lot in life, and she'd really experienced a lot of life. And we got the book, and I'd asked her to sign it, and you could see her really quite kind of like, oh yeah, why do we ask people to sign books? What are we doing? They've sat, manifested, they've dreamed, they've aspired, they've lived through, they've come through huge experiences, and it's an autobiography, this book. And she's, often thought maybe I could write a book. I know I could write a book. And she's written a book and just put her whole existence, her whole life into writing this book. Marking it, honouring it, and having somebody say, yes, I'm going to read this. I'm going to witness this as much as I can do because I'm not you. And she said to me, yeah, I've signed the book and I've put it with a kiss. And I said, oh, thank you. That's really nice. And she said, you're welcome. And you could see that it was something that she has taken so much. It's a labour of love for her. It was so much time for her to put. And just as the chef was talking to me about his life, his experiences and everything that he's built up and what it now means for him moving forward in his life. He'd said, I've worked so hard now. It's like I want to enjoy my life. I want to enjoy what I have acquired, what I've achieved, what I've worked really hard for, and do it with the people that he loves. When we celebrate our life, honour our life, mark our life in some way, we do it in different ways. Some people write a book, some people, they might retire and then fulfill some of their dreams, things that they would like to do. Some people take up hobbies. Some people connect with people more. But we don't have to wait until that point in our life to live our fullest, best life. We can do it right now. Be in the moment right now. We can be living our best life and bringing our best life into our life right now. Are you living your best life? Hey, no judgment here. Sometimes we go through difficult times, challenging times, but we owe it to ourselves, surely, to make sure the life we're living is the best life we can live. To be the happiest, the healthiest, the most fulfilled. What do you think? Sometimes we have to look and do an inventory in our life and ask ourselves, am I investing in me enough? I always talk about self-investment. It's not about being selfish, it's about being self-full. I made that word up probably about 30 years ago, because when I talked to my clients about being selfish, they didn't like it very much. So I talked about being self-full, and people quite like that. Okay, Catherine, yes, I quite like being self-full. I'll use that word. Okay. It's not about, okay, just don't consider anyone else. No, it's about understanding boundaries and knowing what's healthy and what's good for you. Are you being self-full? Are you understanding, doing an inventory in your life, knowing what's good, what's healthy, what works, what doesn't? Do you have the balance right? Those two examples I spoke to you about, the chef that has, dedicated years, he worked in a really well-known, well-established, famous restaurant within Glasgow. And then he established his own place. And he was a lovely man. I'm sure he still is. He's a lovely man, right? And it was so great that he took the time to sit and talk to us. That was really nice of him. He didn't have to do that. But that's part of the experience, isn't it? And when someone tells you that they enjoy, they have benefited, in his experience, in his world, when someone takes the time to say, I really enjoyed your food, I enjoy the atmosphere, I enjoyed being here today, and him being able to be part of what our experience was, and then him sharing his future experience and where he's heading in his life, and then being able to say, I wish all the best. And him saying, yeah, all the best to you too. Good luck with your future endeavours. It's lifting each other up. It's honouring, where each other are in your life. And okay, sometimes we don't necessarily think we're being that deep about it. But for me, it matters when we make time to connect in that way. Just as that woman at the service I was at was sharing, and she was donating part of what she was acquiring. That was her choice, obviously. It was a lovely thing for her to do. But she was experiencing a lot in life, and she put it in an autobiography. For others to be able to see what an amazing life and lots of experiences. When you sit and connect with people, I remember throughout all of my lifespan in my career, I've met so many amazing people, talking to people. I had a neighbour who recently sadly passed not so long ago, and discovered that he'd met many people in life that I didn't know. I mean, I, really loved him, and he was such an amazing person. And throughout my childhood, very much, he was part of that, my life, and even, up until recently, until he passed. And it wasn't until, his funeral that I became aware of a lot of the things that he'd done and a lot of the people he'd connected with. And I was like, wow, this man I knew was an amazing man. I know he had lived his life. He really knew many, many people in life. Sometimes life connects us to people. And sometimes the stories I share, the people that I've connected to, people are like, you've met who? You've done what? Obviously not when it's been ethical clients. I don't talk about those kind of things. But randomly, I remember being in Piccadilly in London and walking into a newsagent's. And I walked in to get something, I can't remember what I was buying. I think it was probably chewing gum or something like that, I can't remember. And I had got my purse out to pay, and the newsagent guy had said, that'll be, and I'd obviously said, oh right, okay, thanks. And he said, you're going to hurry up, something like that. And I had said, I'm sorry, I'm just taking a bit of time. And all I heard behind me was a giggling, and it was a comment about, you Scottish people, you just don't like to part with your money. And I looked round, it was Barbara Windsor. And I said, you trying to say that I'm tight with my money? I said, that's a bit cheeky. I said, you don't even know me. And I said, she said, I said, just because you think I know you doesn't mean to say that you know me. And I laughed so much, right? Mm. And she said to me, so it was quite a funny exchange. It was random, but it was also one of these stories that I'm sure was fleeting for her. It was pretty fleeting for me, but it was something that I remembered. And I remember going back to where I was actually, I was down there. I remember telling the people it was a training course that I was on, and I was a head coach. And I remember telling the people running that I bumped into them, and that person knew her. And I had said, I bumped into her, and he said, I'll need to tell her, that you're actually on the course with me, and she'll think it's really funny that we've connected that way. And I said, yes. I said, she's a lovely lady. I said, she took the time to speak to me. And he said, she speaks to everybody. Yeah. And I said, thanks, I'm everybody. And he just laughed and said, well, you know what I mean. But sometimes you do meet people out of the blue, right? And people connect to you. I remember being in San Francisco in a bookstore, and I was looking at counselling books, right? Only because I was with someone who was looking at other sections in the bookstore, and I decided to glance at these counselling books. And as I was looking, all I heard was this voice going, if you look further up, there's good books up there, but obviously not in a Scottish accent. And I turned round, it was Dr. Phil. And I said, is that a bit of self-promotion, is it? And he said, where are you from? I said, can you not tell? He said, Irish. I said, don't be so insulting, I'm not Irish. And he just burst out laughing. I said, no, it's not an insult. I said, but I'm Scottish. I said, and I'm not buying your book. I said, but if you want, you can give it to me. He said, that's a typical Scottish. Why do people think people in Scotland are tight with their money? I said, not true, we're very generous. So sometimes you can be out and about and you can connect with people. And then he did an exchange with me about why he was there, what he was doing, and asked me what I was doing. I was saying I was on holiday. And sometimes we connect with people randomly. It might be friends, it might be family, it might be people that we know of. We don't really know them. We might think we know them, but they're maybe, on, media, social media, and we know about them, if you like, as much as we do. But I wonder, as I'm talking about these experiences, who do you connect with in your life? Who do you bump into? And who does it take you to, and what places it takes you to? Getting a snap of people's life, or, connecting to someone, and does it actually elevate you? Does it give you something? Does it make you stop and reflect? It's not, for me, it's not about name dropping. It really genuinely isn't. It's about sharing experiences. It's about understanding that sometimes we connect with people, and sometimes when we connect with people, we can make their day, they can make our day. It can spur us on to do things. It can give us a sense of purpose. But it can also provoke negative feelings. Sometimes people feel a sense of injustice or unfairness or jealousy. But is it important to understand where these emotions come from and to understand how to live our life to the fullest and not compare our life to other people? Because someone's life and what they're doing in their life is their concern. Our business is our life and making our life the best life it can be. And when we meet someone or connect to someone, we might get a glimpse and we might, have a snapshot of what's going on in their life, but we don't really know their struggles, their challenges and other things they might be going through. We might see certain things and make judgments. We might think that their life must be so easy because of certain aspects of what's going on in their life, but we actually don't know. And I think the hardest thing sometimes is to just focus on our own life and making our life the best life it can be. Manifesting and being mindfully present is really what we're talking about here. Bringing in what you want to receive, and are you prepared to do the good, the healthy, the necessary things to be able to receive it in the best way and to move things forward? So I've shared some snapshots of things that have happened to me in my life, just a few of them. But I wonder who you connect with. It doesn't have to be people that are well known. It can be people that really matter to you, people that you have connected to from your childhood back again, connected to them. You bump into people, don't you, randomly sometimes in life. And sometimes you reflect back on what your life was like then and where it is now. Ask yourself, am I where I want to be? And am I also where I need to be right now? And if not, what do I need to be doing right now? What do I need to be doing right now to get where I need to be? Thanks for listening. Take good care. Manifest your best life.